20 minutes. Okay.
สวัสดีครับวันนี้เป็นเซสชั่นพิเศษนะครับ GCED Teacher Forum วันนี้เราได้รับเกียรติจากเพื่อนชาวต่างชาติ2ท่านนะครับซึ่งเป็นอาจารย์ชาวญี่ปุ่นคุณครูชาวญี่ปุ่นมาร่วมแลกเปลี่ยนประสบการณ์กับเราGood morning Daisuke-san and Sayaka-san Konnichiwa Okay today is very honor for our center to have you both to join the GCED Teacher Forum and as I mentioned to the Thai audience that now we have two Japanese colleagues, one who teach in the school and one who attend to the NGOs. So first, I would like to allow you both introduce yourself and your organization. Maybe start with Daisuke Kimura-san.
Sorry, this is Daisuke Kimura. My nickname is actually called Kim-san. Everybody can remember easily. Myself, I just would like to talk about myself. I am working in the organization called GIFT, and also the lecturer of Meiji Gakuin University since 2016. So I'm one of the directors of the organization to organize and promote the value of global citizenship education and the value of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, as well as education for sustainable development. So our role is to mainstream the concept of this SDGs and global citizenship education into the school level teaching and the learning.
Okay.
So in order to make it, I did a lot of activity for students, teachers, and policymakers, and also corporate citizens. This is what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You are very active and your role is very incredible to support the school transformation and support teacher learning. And next, Miss Sayaka Matsukura. Okay, please introduce yourself.
Okay, so I will share my screen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for having this opportunity. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Sayaka Matsukura, so just call me Sayaka. I'm an English teacher working at a public junior high school named Gakuen in Saitama Prefecture, very close to Tokyo. At the same time, I'm a member of some association and NGOs. I'm working as a teacher. At the same time, I'm working at the NGO too. And at the same time, from this year, I became one of the students to get a doctoral degree in education. So I'm a Ph.D. student at the same time. Okay, nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Very welcome you both to our forum. And we have a plan. We will allow both of you to share your experiences about the GCED movement in Japan. And we will spend 2 rounds. The first round is to spend 20 minutes for each. And we will start with Daisuke-san. He will talk about the finding from his research about the GCED movement in Japan. And then we move to Sayaka-san. Sayaka-san will share some story about her experiences on GCED integration in school. So would you please share the screen, Kim? Okay.
Can you all see the screen?
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. So 20 minutes from now on, I would like to introduce about our research of how much the global citizenship education, ESD, we call it SDG 4.7, transformative education, is mainstreamed in the school level. So the mission was started by the funding from the Ministry of Education in Japan, and we conduct research until now on and still continuing it. So I'm really happy if you're interested in doing this kind of research. Maybe you could join us to do the research to see what is happening in school. So I would like to introduce some of the facts, or not the facts, but the findings from the research, and what are the main drivers for mainstreaming, integrating GCED on SDG 4.7, and what are the key factors for schools to become innovative in order to implement SDGs or like GCED the school must be more innovative. So I try to find out some of the factors of what are the main factors to make it possible. So this is all the research background. Let me just introduce it. So we do is global citizenship education. So this is why we did the research. How much SDG 4.7 transformative education is mainstreamed? The many countries says yes, but in the school level, it's actually to some extent it's a different type of degrees. Some of them actually doing the global citizenship education in class, but some of them actually at the whole school level, including all the curriculum activities or the extracurricular activities. So I'd like to know what is actually happening in the school. So we did the research to focus on some of the regions, on the target schools, then to see what is happening. So, then at the same time, and we had three types of question in terms of SDG 4.7. The first question I will introduce a little bit later, but how we can combine this maker education and the creative learning is maker education is actually doing the creating, the making something by hands and the hands-on activities, centered activity learning. So how these activity can combine with the global citizenship education. For example, the garbage, how we can reduce the amount of garbage by creating some of the robots or technology, something like that. So the second question is the main part of the presentation. So how much transformative education applied in the school and factor analysis. So I would like to share my some of the findings first. So in order for all the schools to promote SDG 4.7 and transformative education, including GCED, so school, we need to approach to the school leaders, which is the most effective, because school leader is the center nerve of the school system. It's related to the UNESCO's conference I joined in 2017-18. We set up the focus on how we can change the mindset of the school leaders, how it is impactful. Actually, from the research, it's really, really powerful, rather than going to the teachers' training. But the second one is actually the continuous training and the learning opportunity for teachers, because teachers and the school, they don't have sufficient learning opportunities provided by provided by the training from outside of the schools, and also lack of resources, or they don't simply know what to do and how to access, how to use that kind of materials related to GCED. And the third one is the culture in the school. If the school is friendly for innovative environment, the teachers are more proactive and to challenge it. For example, if teacher can learn from the mistake, if teacher can make mistakes, or if teacher can challenge, or if teachers are encouraged to do something new. So these culture actually help for all the teachers to do GCED and SDG 4.7 to make it forward. So first one, I just want to share some of the result of the surveys. Of course, this is not the sample is not sufficient, because we started the project in 2020 in the middle of COVID crisis. So we can't get sufficient data. But from the data we got from targeting schools, some of the obstacle of the why the school cannot actually deal with SDGs 4.7 or SDG 4.7 and the GCC-ESD, because of the lack of teaching methods or lack of budget and the resources and the teaching materials. Because there's many of the teaching materials are available online, but not exactly in Japanese. Because if teacher cannot read Japanese, it's very difficult to understand in all the materials in English. And lastly, but maybe it's a very critical and important one. PhD is just simply busy. Learn something new. Yeah, that's the one. Maybe it's quite close to the hypothesis. Yeah, this is the structure of the data. We did 3 types of researches and taking the samples and the target schools and the 16 school targets, and also region in Funabashi cities and the 82 schools. Then we collected the data from 52 schools, and some of the schools in the Hokkaido 166 schools. So we collected the data. One of them, how much SDG 4.7 or global education is mainstream in school. So first one is the school vision and the mission. The school management actually put the concept of SDGs or GCED. In the target score 81.3%, it's quite most of them put some concept of ESD or GCED in the school mission. And the Funabashi city, it's like a 36.5, which reflects the reality, because all the cities are not many. This is target school actually do something in the concept, but in the city, in the region, less than 40%. In Hokkaido, in the 50%. So we are like, because of maybe policy encouraging ESD, maybe because of that, we can put some of the concept of the ESD GCED into school mission. Then the second one is the school activity in the curriculum. The sum of the if the GCED or ESD is included in the school curriculum. In the target school, 75 points. It's quite high. In the region, in the city, 55.7. So, and somehow in the curriculum, they do this kind of global citizenship education, ESD, or international understanding education is done in the school. And next one is the curriculum management in order to make the school mission possible. The 75.1% of school in 2020 targeted school says they do managing curriculums to make the school policy possible. So this one in the Funabashi city, just recently taken it, 80%. So actually in 2 years progress, curriculum management is quite popular and installed in the many school level. But so in that case, if we put the concept of GCED-ESD or SDGs into the school policy, maybe it's possible for the schools to arrange the curriculum, manage the curriculum to make it possible. So another one, maybe I can just skip it. And cross curriculum or the inter-subject learning implemented or encouraged in the school. This is more specific. We call it integrated studies, which is more like interdisciplinary studies. So this is one of the inter-subject. But inter-subject means subject for GCED subject, GCED with mathematics or GCED with art and social studies, or the learning about the global society from the perspective of science and crafting, something like this. So if it is, this is not so much easy, but the intersubject is not easy, but they managed to do somehow like a collaboration in subject and subject. It doesn't include the concept of GCED, SDG 4.7, but they do some kind of collaboration with the subject. This is the data from it. And okay, so maybe another one. So interesting one is the PBL. The many of the program like GCED program is maybe PBL is quite popular way. So what are the priority for doing this kind of GCED? So we call like we focus on the 4 domains. knowledge and the thinking ability and the social emotional skill and the values. And I put the five, action. So the target school, which actually do many activities in school, they put more importance on values transformation. But in general, in many of the schools, PBL or learning GCED means knowledge. Many people, maybe if we don't have experience, focus on getting the knowledge, learning from global citizenship education. But more important thing, maybe the UNESCO or many of the global citizenship education agency focus on the actions and the values transformation. But there's a differences between the public perception from teachers and in reality. So here, some of the topics, what kind of topics are quite popular implemented in the school? For example, this is 2020, so many people actually talk about health because of the COVID. So the COVID and health lives and the well-being comes first, and inclusive and equitable society is taken in the schools. 16 targeted school. Then I just go a little bit further. So not popular one is like a disarmament, security, for example, like related to peace and wars. And another one is to promote sustained inclusive and economic growth, protect employment. So the decent work, something like the working environment. For like a secondary school and high school, it's not really popular. So the inequality, or you see, this is a contrast. Maybe these topics are quite easier for Japanese people to understand and learn. For example, hunger and the global citizenship, nutrition, gender equality is like a hot topics. But war, maybe the teachers are reluctant to do that because they are not really confident to deal with. I don't know, more maybe it'll be the lack of resources. So this is a region one and taken in 2022. So in region level, I think it's a quite similar result came up. Yeah, but the poverty is not really supported and really popular. And unfortunately, nurturing global citizenship is not the really interest by like a region of the city. And the same, like DDR, disarmament, demobilization is not really popular. And IDPs and then the refugee things is not really popular as well. So why? I just want to change the topic. So many schools actually try to put some of the activity related to GCED or SCGs, but maybe more than half of them don't do that. So why? Then I asked two types of questions. What are the reasons of, what are the obstacles of not implementing GCED? For the target schools, they are doing some of the activities in the school, maybe the whole school level or maybe the subject level. So they said maybe this is just half of them, and then it's not a priority for parents. It's some of the reasons involved, but more importantly, teachers can't handle embedding appropriately due to lack of teaching method because of the experience. It's like more than 70% of school, 70% of target school, the schools who are doing some of the activities in the school, they said they don't even have sufficient skills. And the second one is the budget, and don't have the materials, or maybe don't reach out to the materials. And the most important one is busy. Most of the teachers said busy. This is why they don't have enough time, extra time to learn something new. So the region, it's a little bit different, but the first one, it's not the priority for the curriculum framework is one of, and it's 50%. I understand maybe with curriculum frameworks and like learning education objective is not just GCED, but maybe in the school entrance exams or maybe technology somehow, something like that. They might be another priority rather than GCED. So the another reason is quite simple. Teacher, they don't know, they don't have appropriately the trainings and also the budget materials the same. And another one is region-wide. They don't have sufficient contacts or channels with external institutions to collaborate with. Yeah. And I don't have to say it's busy. So these are the reason for Japanese schools, maybe might be the reason for Japanese school not to take this kind of GCED, SDG 4.7, or maybe some other learnings in terms of like a STEAM education, for example. Even if we talk about technology in STEAM education, programming and anything, if they are not really ready to learn something new, we can't do that. Yeah. So how much time we have? Okay, I'll try my best to make it in
We have 5 minutes more.
5 more minutes. Okay. So just quickly. So I did the research, then another research. So we have schools who are which are doing various types of learning activities in the schools. So what are the differences of the schools? Maybe because the school leader is active, or maybe teachers are active, they can do this kind of SDG or the GCED activities, or not. So I made a comparison. First one is compare the competencies of school leaders. So we compare the schools with actively doing the whole school level activities in a GCED or ESD whole school activities. And another team is schools, they don't do whole school activities. And also they are learning how to do GCED in school. So active and then not active. Then I compare the competencies based on the competency given by CMIO Innotech, which is mentioned in the UNESCO's conference. I did I was in cooperation with CMIO Innotech. I made a research in comparison. But the result, school leaders who are active school leaders, they have a little bit higher competencies in terms of these given 5 competencies: personal excellence, instructional excellence, management, and strategic thinking, innovation, and lastly, stakeholder engagement, work with outside stakeholders. So the generally active schools leaders or inactive schools, they are a little bit higher than the other one. So what about the teachers? Teachers are from active school. Teachers are from not inactive school. They don't have, I don't see so much differences in the active school and the non-active school, which means, so if school leaders quite active, they can promote new kind of learning, including GCED and SDG 4.7 and STEAM education. If school leaders are quite active or welcoming these kind of innovative education, because the teachers' skills are quite same here, and innovative behaviors. Even in the not active schools, innovative behaviors level is higher standard. Yeah. So another one, I just want to share one thing. So what exactly makes schools innovative? So based on the researches and the questions, I made a factor analysis to find out what are the factors to school to be innovative based on all the questionnaires. So find out 6 factors here, like this. Then the last one is exactly here. So individual proactive behavior. So maybe the individual like teamworks and the learning new skill by themselves, learning new skill and taking the new roles to cope with the changes in a way, or respond to flexibly respond to overall changes of the organization. So this is personal level of proactive behavior. And the next one is proactive behavior to organization. So proposing something new for the betterment of the organization, or maybe the involve yourself, and maybe the participation in organizational management. So suggestions and the development of new method and the systems in the school. And another one is organization environment, which is a culture of the for the innovation. So open and responsible organization. Recognize the school is recognized as a innovative schools. They have to be innovative. And the flexibility, adapting, and assisting school the workers' abilities or the function creatively work it, and adequate resources to make innovation possible, something like this. So the another one is understanding others and accepting others, which is the more social and emotional part. So if the organization accept others' feeling and others' behaviors and ideas and expressions, and the psychological student, if the school respect these part of like social and emotional of in the organization, school can be more innovative. So this is anti-conservative attitude is kind of another one. Not just following the rules, not just following the traditional way of doing business, is actually negatively working to be innovative. And lastly, this is a small part of the fact. This is the personal proficiency and excellence for working environment. So tasks were doing it properly, carried out in the core part of the job quite well. It's like a mastery of the daily business, the daily works. So these are the things, and I could find from the organization. If we just think about like focusing on the school leaders, or maybe trainings, and also the management to make rooms for teachers to learn something new, is the keyword for us to do whole school level innovation and transformation of school activity towards GCED and SDG 4.7. Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe my
Thank
time
you very
is
much,
21
Kim.
minutes.
Let me talk in brief in Thai for Thai school. ที่อาจารย์ไดสุเกะนำเสนอน่าสนใจมากนะครับอาจารย์เล่าว่าที่ญี่ปุ่นเนี่ยมีพื้นฐานเดิมในการโปรโมทเรื่องคอนเซปต์ของการศึกษาเพื่อการพัฒนาที่ยั่งยืนหรือว่า ESD มาก่อนเนาะแล้วก็มีต้นทุนของการทำงานในเชิงของการขับเคลื่อนนวัตกรรมพวกนี้อยู่อาจารย์ก็เลยทำวิจัยในเรื่องของโรงเรียนที่จะสามารถที่จะเป็นโรงเรียนนวัตกรรมเนี่ยต้องมีอะไรเป็นองค์ประกอบบ้างเนาะอาจารย์ก็เล่าว่า GCED หรือว่าพลเมืองโลกศึกษาเนี่ยก็เป็นส่วนหนึ่งที่มีการจัดเข้าไปในห้องเรียนทั้งในระดับชั้นเรียนแล้วก็ทั้งโรงเรียนนะครับในส่วนที่เป็นห้องเรียนก็จะเข้าไปในหลักสูตรโดยเฉพาะมีวิชาที่รัฐบาลญี่ปุ่นออกเป็นตัวหลักสูตรก็คือ Integrated Study Period นะครับที่ให้เรียนเป็นบูรณาการแล้วก็มีลักษณะที่เป็นแบบบูรณาการเข้าไปในรายวิชาหรือที่เรียกว่า Inter Subject เนาะแล้วก็เมื่อกี้อาจารย์ชวนเล่าจากงานวิจัยว่าอาจารย์พบแฟกเตอร์สำคัญประมาณ 5-6 เรื่องที่ทำให้โรงเรียนที่จะเป็นโรงเรียนนวัตกรรมเนี่ยปรับตัวได้เร็วนะครับเพื่อตอบโจทย์ในการรับเอาเครื่องมือทางการศึกษาใหม่ๆเข้ามาใช้งานครับมีตั้งแต่พฤติกรรมความกระตือรือร้นตื่นตัวของคุณครูนะครับเรื่องของบรรยากาศการทำงานที่ส่งเสริมให้เกิดการแบบเป็น proactive behavior for organization ก็คือมีการบริหารองค์กรที่ส่งเสริมให้เกิดพฤติกรรมที่ตื่นตัวในการทำงานเนาะมีวัฒนธรรมองค์กรที่เปิดเรียนรู้จากกันและกันแล้วก็ร่วมรับผิดชอบร่วมกันมีความเข้าใจแล้วก็เคารพความแตกต่างกันนะครับมีเรื่องของท่าทีขององค์กรในการที่จะจัดการกับไอ้ตัวทัศนคติค่านิยมที่เป็นเชิงอนุรักษ์ไม่ค่อยยอมรับการเปลี่ยนแปลงแล้วก็สุดท้ายก็คือความเชี่ยวชาญนะครับของ ของบุคลากรครูเนี่ยต่องานที่รับผิดชอบมอบหมายซึ่งอาจารย์ได้มีการสำรวจทั้งเซอร์เวย์ฝั่งคุณครูแล้วก็เซอร์เวย์ฝั่งผู้บริหารเนาะแล้วก็ได้แมปปิ้งออกมานะครับ Thank you very much for your informative and inspiring presentation. It's a very key finding that share to our teacher as well, no? And then we will move to Sayaka-san. Sayaka-san will share her experiences from the classroom and in school when she said implemented in class. นะครับ Okay, let Sayaka-san for 20 minutes, please.
Okay, so I will share my screen. Okay, so now, yes, I will focus on my junior high school classroom. Is that okay? Okay, thank you very much. So let's start. Okay, so I will talk about these 5 points. And then before I will introduce my class activity, I will explain about the Japanese current education system. And then next, in Japan, lots of schools tried to implement SDGs, focus on SDGs in integrated studies. But not only integrated studies, we are focused on the SDGs in social studies classes, science classes, English classes as well. So before that, I will explain about SDGs as well. And I will introduce a GCED implementation in public junior high school in Japan. This implementation is about my previous school. So a little bit older, but I will introduce. And then I will introduce student transformation and I will introduce teacher training too. Okay, let's go. So this sentences is from Japanese course of studies. So every 10 years, Ministry of Education published a current course of study. We said 学習指導要領 in Japanese. And then since 2020, we have the preamble, like before the main sentences, we have the preamble for elementary school to high school level. The course of study, which will be implemented in April 2020, clearly simplified and preamble the development creators of sustainable society. So this is one of the aim to education. So throughout the education, we focus on the builders of a sustainable society. So each student, each teacher must be this kind of person. But one of the questions is, what is the learning for becoming builders of a sustainable society? So most of schools or most of the teachers are questioning how we make these kind of classes or lessons throughout each subject. Okay, and the next is to come up with the builders of sustainable society. We focus on the curriculum with society. This is a kind of the goal from the course of study. It says we have to share our global issues or social issues, not only school, but also with society. So it's a kind of a new concept from the Ministry of Education. So usually school is school, social is society is society. We divide it in two, but these days we try to catch up together and then cooperate together. But not only cooperating, but also we have to share our issues or problem as well. And then cooperate to solve these problems together. And this is one of the key points. And then another point is creating a better society through education. So not only social issues or global issues, but also we have to collaborate and then create a society through education, not adaptation, not only adaptation. We have to build good or better society through education. So education is more important than, before, Okay, this is one of the concepts. And then Daisuke-san told about the curriculum management. So as for the teachers, curriculum management is one of the points to make up curriculum or each lesson. So actually, I'm an English teacher, but I also, when I make up my English classes, I check the science classes or social studies classes, and then sometimes I collaborate with other teachers when I make a class. So this is point because ESD or SDGs, it's not only for one subject. So we cannot solve the problem with one subject. So that is why we other. So for example, when actually I'm an English teacher, but I use another textbook like a social studies or history textbook as well. In that way, we have to make our curriculum management. So before that, maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago, when I became a teacher, curriculum management is for the job for principal, only principal or. But now in Japan, each teachers have to think about the management, But this is one of the good way to relate with each issues, Okay. So, but this is our question, as for the teacher, how do we manage the curriculum and what, So most of the teachers try to manage other subject to my subject. But sometimes it's very difficult to think about it, especially in the elementary school teacher. They are very good at this kind of management because they teach everything. But junior school teachers or high school teachers, they have their own subject. Actually, I'm an English teacher, so they are very good at their own subject. But sometimes it's very difficult to collaborate other subjects or other education activities too. Okay, but this is one of the big question in Japan. Okay, so and now after 2020, the new course of studies has begun. We tried to focus on the SDGs into our subject, not only integrated study, but also all of the subjects. And then Ministry Education pushes to integrate SDGs or point of SDGs or build of SDGs. And then, but sometimes we forgot to this agenda. We are very good at putting SDGs icon. For example, the science teacher tried to put the icon to climate change or some environment problem. But sometimes we forgot the transformative education or transforming our world. This is a very important concept based on the SDGs agenda. But maybe most of the Japanese teachers didn't read this kind of agenda. So when I have a teacher training, I always suggest teacher to read this agenda before we tag or we put into the icons of SDGs in the contents of studies. Okay, so we share transforming our world. It's a kind of the good concept and a very important concept throughout education. Maybe who transform, maybe we share the who, I or we needed to transform. But we have to argue about how to transform our world. This is a question, and this is a kind of the content, what we study or how to study. And we are very good at learning to know SDGs. Japanese teachers or Japanese students are very good at get a knowledge about SDGs, but this is not enough. So learning to SDGs it's okay to just only for the starting, but it's not good to finish only knowing SDGs. So I tried to manage about learning to achieve SDGs. So I will introduce one of the case study, how to learn to achieve SDGs. Okay, so I focus on not only knowing, not only studying, but also I focus on the learning to achieve SDG. It means make students who contribute to develop our society or to make up more sustainable society. So this is one of the case study in Japan, in Ageo Higashi Junior High School in Saitama. I worked at this school before. Now I moved to another school. I will introduce this implementation. This implementation was 2015 to 2018. Actually, this project is already finished, but still now this school is continuing implementing this kind of activities. And then this is a kind of the experimental school for curriculum development by Ministry of Education. So Ministry of Education supported our activities for 4 years. And then this is a kind of the unique activities because the whole school this was a whole school approach system. So it means all teachers, not only subject, not only the experiences, all teachers in school joined this kind of project. So, and then all students at the same time, all students, I mean the 7th to 9th students joined this classes too. And then we set, before beginning, starting of this project, we set up 8 competencies. It is came from the OECD or our school situations. And then our principal and the teachers set up this kind of the 8 competencies throughout the GCED. And then this is a kind of the 8 research framework for the school. So the left one is aims of our research. So we set up 3 aims, and then the right side is a research framework. We divide it into four groups for teachers. The most difficult one is assessment and evaluation. We are not sure, even now, we are not sure how to evaluate or how to assess GCED activities. Yeah, this is one of the difficult topic, you know. And then, yes, I will introduce some of case, okay. And this is a picture of the classroom on the, sometimes we visited some universities or some related institution to get an interview or to have the to have the workshop. Yes. And then and look at the learning style. So usually in school, teachers in front of the classroom and then students are always sitting. But in this case, they said the classes, we usually do the group activity like these pictures. We made a lot of groups, and then we cannot see teachers, you know, in this picture, you know. Teachers are always walking out, and then sometimes maybe only for students. You know. Okay. And then this is the pictures in the classroom too.
Wow.
And then this is okay. This is one of the case study from grade 7. I mean the 12 to 13 years old. They started with a lot of workshop style classes. They focus on the gender or hunger issues. It's like a global issues. And then students made a lot of questions, why and how. And then they tried to solve these kind of problems. And let's think about, and after that, the teachers introduced the SDGs, but the teachers didn't introduce each by each, you know, and then let's think about your original 17 goals. At the time, student made a 17 original goal. It was very fun. And then next time, the SDGs in Japanese translation, we have a lot of difficult words. So students tried to translate into easy and then casual words. And then we use a lot of newspapers and then reading newspapers. And then they tried to tag SDGs icon and then how to make our lifestyles as well. And then this is 18th grade, I mean the 13 to 14 years old. And then they divided to, they decided each topic in each classroom, and they argue a lot, and then they focus on the one topic for half a year. They got a lot of interviews from specific persons or sometimes companies. And then in this time, so class 1, in this time, the student tried to focus on the future with AI. At that time, teacher and the student had a lot of discussion. This is a one discussion scene, you know. So in this time, the classroom teacher was an English teacher, and then he was very interested in the AI and a lot of ICT skill, but they don't know how to make or how to collaborate AI and humans. We have a lot of program to collaborate with them. So that a student try to make and try to think how to collaborate AI and humans. So this is that is why lots of we have a learning styles, and then and every December or January they have a chance to visit to companies or some institutions, and then they got an interview. Okay. And then this is a kind of the workshop. After they got to the interview, they shared information and then what we want to learn more or what we learned. Okay. This is a ninth grade. This is the last grade of the junior high school. So they focus on our own city, and the city government or some NGOs or some staff from the city collaborated with this project. This is really interesting because students live in the city, and then they try to make a proposal to the city for, and then sometimes the city government helped us to make proposal. Yeah, this is a student voice. Students said a lot of interesting comments. And then, for example, in 2045, what would happen? They try to think about the future. And then this is very unique. My problem is the more I look into, the more confuse it, because sometimes they want to know more, but sometimes they want to, after they getting knowledge or they know, they confuse a lot, Okay, this is a kind of the transformation, student transformation. Because we got some budget from the Ministry of Education, we have to write a report. And then at that time, I did some survey to teachers and students too. And then this is a question is, which competencies could you acquire through GCED for 3 years? And then many students said, one is finding the topic, and then critical thinking and collaboration. This is competencies that students got. And then this is also survey. I believe I can change society. In Ageo Higashi student, more than half, maybe 60-70% said, I believe I can change the world, change the society. Compare with Japan's average, the percentage is quite high. Yeah, this is very interesting, Yeah. Yes, more than half of our students think we can change the society. Okay. And this is a teacher training. So we did a lot of training system, Actually, Daisuke-san told teachers are very, very busy. We don't have enough time. But even though teacher needs to the teacher training on GCED. Because we don't know how to make or how to proceed the workshop, So we focus on the facilitation. We did a lot of facilitation workshop too. And then sometimes we invite some guest teacher from the university or from the NGO, and then we made a lot of workshop. And then end of the semester, we did a lot of reflections. So sometimes we are not sure what we are doing. So it's really important to reflect in our own words. Okay, this is a survey for the teachers. After 4 years finished, I did a lot of survey to teachers who engage in this kind of activities. And then teachers said they changed a lot of lifestyle, lesson style too. So this is very interesting. A teacher changed their lifestyle, Actually, teachers are, very busy, but teacher tried to think about global issues with family or neighborhood too. And then, and then teachers feel the solidarity as a whole school too. Actually, Ageo Higashi Junior High School was a kind of the big school. We had 18 classes and then nearly 800 students and 40 teachers. So it's a kind of a big community. So sometimes it's very difficult to collaborate with each other. But as for this kind of research, teacher felt solidarity as one of the whole school. And then teachers got a confidence based on their activities or experiences. So teacher tried to begin on new style lessons or new concept of lessons. And then after that, I moved to the graduate school. At that time, I did another survey, and then the study explained how being improved in ESD affects the teacher's perspective of education. This is from my master's thesis, and then I got a very interesting research survey. According to the research, I got the 3 points. The teachers who involved the ESD activity, compared with other teachers, we had 3 differences. So one is teacher trusted our student and making a transformation to student-centered type lesson. And the second one is the teacher, but the teachers felt more citizens, Teachers are taking action to solve a problem because the teachers teachers thought a sense of responsibility to global and issues because they made a lessons based on the global issues and social issues. And then number 3 is the teacher includes global issues in the classes, not only global integrated study, but also the mathematics or science classes too. And then Agyo Higashi Junior High School is a public junior high school. So most of the teachers moved to another school now, even though they tried to keep up their global studies or global issues in their subject. This is a very important thing, And this is for idea for new perspective on curriculum development. So usually in Japanese curriculum is already decided. This is the left side. So already decided what we teach, this is the program 1, program 2, program and then teachers have to teach such kind of content to students like a straight way, top to bottom. But maybe curriculum for ESD or GCED or SDGs 4.7. So we don't know what to teach or how to teach. Maybe nobody knows. So I think this is my idea. Both teachers and the students making curriculum together because nobody knows the answers or solving, So we have to think, we mean the teachers and the student have to think together and sometimes work together. Then this kind of from bottom to top, not only top to bottom. Okay. So this is a kind of the idea for the curriculum making. Okay. And then also we teachers think about the teacher's role. So usually teachers are teacher like instructor. So teachers have answers or solving, but now we don't know. So at the teacher has a teacher's job, but at the same time, our role is a facilitator or coordinator, sometimes researcher, sometimes designer, or creator, or sometimes student teacher support the teacher, a teacher supports teachers, a teacher supports the student too. So we have various rules, So we have to recognize these kind of rules as a teacher. And at the same time, the most important thing is the teacher sometimes must be a learner. Okay, so because we have a lot of things to know and a lot of things to learn. So that is why we are teachers, but at the same time, we are learners who work with and to promote inquiry learning. This is a kind of new mindset to be a teacher. Okay, this is my question is, always I talk with the teachers, and then how can we contribute to achieve SDGs or through your subject? And then second question is, how do we transform our perspective of education? So maybe we are facing a lot of new issues or new problems like COVID-19. So we are not sure the original things, So we have to transform everything or something, But we need to talk about what is the first step to transform our perspective. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. This is my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Sayaka Sensei. It's very impressive that you mentioned about the key question in the last slide that we need to transform our perspective on education. Especially during COVID-19, we learned a lot that students can learn themselves without us. They have to learn far from our classroom, our teacher. And how can we support the competency, promote competency to the student learning to do more inquiry เนาะอาจารย์คุณครูชยากะได้เล่าให้เราฟังหลายอย่างมากเลยครับแล้วก็คิดว่าประเด็นหลักๆที่ผมจะรีแคปเก็บไว้เบื้องต้นก่อนก็คืออาจารย์ย้ำว่าในหลักสูตรการศึกษาของญี่ปุ่นทุกวันนี้ได้มีการชี้แจงตัวเป้าหมายสำคัญของการศึกษาไว้ชัดเจนว่าเป็นการเตรียมคนให้เป็น builder นะครับเป็นผู้สร้างสังคมที่ยั่งยืนแล้วก็อาจารย์ชี้ประเด็นว่าในการจัดการเรียนการสอนในรายวิชาต่างๆก็เลยเป็นเรื่องที่ทุกรายวิชาต้องร่วมพลังกันโดยเฉพาะประเด็นบูรณาการเช่น SDG พลเมืองโลกนะครับหรือประเด็นเกี่ยวกับการศึกษาเพื่อการพัฒนาที่ยั่งยืนในมุมนี้คุณครูก็เลยต้องทำหน้าที่เป็นผู้ดูแลจัดการหลักสูตรด้วยไม่ได้เป็นหน้าที่ของผู้อำนวยการหรือผู้บริหารอย่างเดียวแล้วก็อาจารย์แชร์รีเสิร์ชบางส่วนที่อาจารย์ทำเรื่องเกี่ยวกับ competency ของผู้เรียนของคุณครูเนาะแล้วก็อาจารย์มี finding สำคัญว่าสิ่งสำคัญที่คุณครูเขาได้เรียนรู้จากการทำงานในการส่งเสริมการเรียนรู้ผ่านพลเมืองโลกศึกษาก็คือคุณครูไว้ใจผู้เรียนมากขึ้นเชื่อใจในการที่ผู้เรียนจะเรียนด้วยตัวเองตัดสินใจด้วยตัวเองนะครับแล้วก็ในฐานะพลเมืองครูทุกคนก็รู้สึกว่าตัวเองได้มีส่วนในการร่วมลงมือปฏิบัติแก้ปัญหาและสุดท้ายก็คือตอนนี้คุณครูได้มีการกำหนดให้เรื่องประเด็นโลกทั้งหลายเนี่ยเป็นส่วนหนึ่งของชั้นเรียนที่ออกแบบไม่ว่าจะเป็นในบทเรียนตัวเองหรือในวิชาบูรณาการเนาะแล้วก็ผมชอบที่อาจารย์ไฮไลท์เรื่องตัวโมเดลของหลักสูตรว่าเดิมมันก็เป็นลักษณะท็อปดาวน์โดยกระทรวงลงมาถึงมือคุณครูทำยังไงที่หลักสูตรจะเป็นลักษณะสไปรัลแล้วก็เป็นความร่วมมือระหว่างครูกับเด็กเป็นบอททั้งอัพขึ้นไปเนาะ I'm very impressed that you proposed the model about the curriculum development, no? From the MOE, like a top down, and when we do things like an integrated unit, like a bottom up from the classroom, we can bring about the global issue, contemporary issue to the classroom and allow students to take their roles to learn with us, no? And lead their learning. And very interesting that you proposed the concept of teacher as the researcher and teacher as the designer is very challenging for Thai teacher as well. Okay, for the second round, we will back to Kimura-san. He prepared to share some lesson learned for the school teacher who teach GCED in the school. So 10 minutes for the second round. Kim.
Okay. I just want to change the topic because most of you in Thailand, I think you are watching is not actually about the policy, but the education examples. I would like to share some of the examples of the unique GCED activities, not integrated studies or not just English and social studies. I think these subjects are quite popular for doing GCED integration. But I would like to take some of the examples with some different type of subject. For example, this one, I'd like to share the ideas, culture, understanding the cultures and the connections by in the classroom of art classroom. So you see there are lots of inequality in the world, like Black Lives Matters in the United States, on some unstable conditions. So the teacher came up with the idea, why these things happen? So what can we do for students not to be the person like anti racism, to prepare for the anti-racism or more unique and equitable world. So they came up with the idea, taking up the class of arts and in the international level, they collaborate the idea using this kind of process of learning, put the idea into the action, SDGs, inequality into the artwork. So they collaborate the action, making this kind of designs, which represent students' idea on the social justice or social issues. They do online, connecting with different countries' class.
Wow.
Different countries' classes as well. So this is the kind of the case from art. Then another one, I think I would like to. This is another one which is using like graphics in the classroom. So I think this is not an art class, but this is the one of the some of the class, maybe English or maybe I think probably English class, but using this kind of designing. And this one, I think there's another one in English one. I think the theme is quite like a bean, like a chocolate. For element, I think an elementary school, like a junior high school level. Where does the chocolate come from? So they learn from their favorite snacks. Then they learn how they are connected with us, what kind of social injustice during the process of making the chocolate production. They did the research, and they actually made a thinking ability and the critical thinking as well as social emotional learning. This is the driver for them to take some actions. So they did the research. Where does the chocolate come from? Where does the chocolate they eat exactly coming from another one. This is like an English class, so you can do this this kind of global learning and GCED easily, taking actions. So another one is action-oriented activity. I don't remember. I think this is a crafting or something, artwork or classroom. They made a bamboo house. Ask everybody to make the bamboo house because of the lack of resources, natural resources, land degradations, biodiversity. So the bamboo has so much possibilities. So this is why they set up the classroom for a student to learn the value or maybe the potential of the bamboo. Ask everybody to create and build the bamboo house by themselves. So I skipped some of the process how to make it, but they learn only the limited resources. Actually, they watch by themselves. They watch how to make them by themselves. So this is like autonomous actions. Then looking at the bamboo, like beautiful buildings, they came up with like brilliant ideas. Then they try it. So this is not an example. Then I think I don't have the output, but of course the bamboo house this is hands-on activity. Then teacher don't teach a lot. So many people made mistakes. They can't do the brilliant architecture like this. They can't even build like this.
Wow.
Maybe difficult. But they learn so many things from the activity because the environment they live. The teacher is from Brazil. Brazil has a lot of damaging on the biodiversity in the forestry. So this is why they came up with something innovative idea, putting together. So the local issues actually go into the problem solving. And the topic is all about GCED and the global issues as well. So this is another way of the creative learning. So how they learn. People learn like children. Children, they are not taught. They learn by doing. They learn by hands-on activities. Think like this. Imagine and create, play. So the play as a center of learning. Then ask them to create something new. So then they connect with the social issues they have. Then start creation. In this topic is inequality that many people mention the inequality. So the inequality, they made the research what's happening in the world, in the society, then create some of the videos or some of the artwork. And then in this time, the many people made YouTube videos. So this is a kind of another creativity. And this is one of the infographic, I think.
Yeah.
So something, another one. So I think another one is here. This is a combination of technology and entrepreneurship, global citizenship education, and creative learning in the classroom of making the crafts or artwork. So this is more technical subject. So I think this organization work with the schools in the slum district. The lots of garbages, lots of crimes, lots of social injustice. So they came up with the idea how the student in the slum, how the pupils in the slum can solve the problem, focusing on the garbages to make more sustainable or to make the scenery beautiful, because they have so many garbages around all the roads and the many insecurities in the area. So they came up with the idea, with the objective and idea, so how they can solve the problem of their living condition. The living condition in slum is actually the center of SDGs. Poverty, crimes, injustice, something like that, and hunger, something like that. So that the pupils are living in the center of the issues. Then they made the education program to solve that problem, starting first step. So they given the connection with technologies. They play with the technologies, understanding how to use it, and also connecting the topic of their livelihood with the life and the classroom. So they started experimental activities, creating, made mistakes. And finally, they came up with the idea on a worm compost. So then, gave them the idea how you can sell the worm compost and make the profit and make the city cleaner and make the city garbages into more sustainable ways. So that is a kind of regeneration process. Then the science classroom started. They learn about the recycle, the system of the worm and the bacteria, the works of bacteria. Then they learn the concept, think about the strategy. How can they sell it if they sell this kind of bucket of worm compost. Then they submit the proposals and actually made some of the sophisticated idea to make the product. This is like more like a business studies. Then innovated the product. Then using like sketches from the creative learning, hands-on activity, drawing. Then think about the ideas and made into one of the products. Then made a pricing, then sell it. So this is the activity for the people outside, like left behind, can transform themselves and transform the society and transform the education system as well. So this is kind of the activity I'd like to introduce, not just in the English, not in the social studies, but that we can use our imagination to create some brilliant idea, which encourages not the knowledges and heart and the values and actions to make the society transformed. Yeah, this is what I would like to introduce from our project. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very inspiring. I think when you show some lesson learned from many practice from teacher maybe in Japan, in Brazil, and we see the possibility to work across the curriculum, right? No, it's not only based on some subject like social study or English, and we can support student learning through many topics. I do believe that we can do something like this in many countries, no? When we promote the concept of the active learning, authentic learning. And I impressed that you point out that we need to connect with the social issue, global issue, and allow students to do themselves, bring theory to practice, and finally they do some action and build up the sense of the entrepreneurship through student. อาจารย์ไดสุเกะได้เล่าถึงตัวอย่างกิจกรรมบางอย่างที่เครือข่ายของอาจารย์ทั้งในญี่ปุ่นแล้วก็ที่บราซิลคุณครูที่ทำงานเรื่องของพลเมืองโลกศึกษาเนี่ยว่าไม่ได้จำกัดอยู่แค่ในวิชานะครับแล้วก็เป็นลักษณะที่เป็นการเรียนรู้กับลงมือทำปฏิบัติจริงเป็นโปรเจกต์ของเด็กที่ผู้เรียนได้มีส่วนในการเริ่มแนวคิดต่างๆเนาะอาจารย์ใช้คำว่าเริ่มจาก connect ตัว culture เข้ามาก่อนให้มันมีเลนส์ในการมองปัญหาแล้วก็ออกแบบกระบวนการตั้งคำถามที่มันจะกระตุ้นการตื่นตัวเช่นช็อกโกแลตมาจากไหนแล้วก็ดึงจากประเด็นนี้ไปโยงกับเรื่องความเท่าเทียมเป็นธรรมเรื่องความเหลื่อมล้ำในการเข้าถึงโอกาสที่ดีของคนหรือดึงตัวอย่างจากงานบางอย่างที่อาจารย์เล่าเรื่องของการสร้างตัวบ้านไม้ไผ่ซึ่งในเรื่องเดียวกันเนี่ยสามารถใช้หลากหลายวิชามาเรียนรู้ได้หัวใจคือเอาการเล่นของเด็กนี่เป็นศูนย์กลางนะครับแล้วก็เน้นการเรียนรู้จากการลงมือทำที่เด็กได้มีโอกาสเรียนรู้ทฤษฎีเอามาสู่การทดลองแล้วก็ออกแบบเอาไปใช้งานจริงแล้วก็ไปขยายผลในฐานะพลเมืองนะครับขอบคุณอาจารย์มากๆครับ So we will back to Sayaka in the second round to she will share some lesson learned to the about the teacher training that she involved to some network of teacher. So Sayaka.
Okay, so I will share about the assessment or evaluation too. Maybe. As I told you before, so evaluation or assessment is the most difficult activity for teachers. And then I think all of teachers in the world are very much think about the difficulties,
struggle to the assessment.
And then I made some PowerPoint. Okay. So, so during our activity, assessment activity, at the time when I was in Agewo Higashi Junior High School, I argued a lot, It's actually, so in Japan, we have to evaluate or assess teacher assessed student or teacher evaluate student activities, And then English or mathematics or science, such kind of subject, we have a paper test, final exam or midterm exam, and then based on the examinations or classroom activity, we put the scores every semester. But as for these set activities, we don't have any tests and we don't have any paper activities, So we focus on the performance test, like a speech or writing reports or having a presentation like a poster session. So, but a teacher doesn't know how to evaluate their activities, So that is why we argued a lot. So first of all, how to assess or what to assess, So we tried to make up the content of the assessment, And then, okay, so we tried to make kind of the rubric materials, We focus on, we tried to make the point, what do we assess, What do we evaluate? For example, before assessment, we had a lot of argument about why do we assess GCED activities, and then we talked about to improve lessons or to create essential questions to check student understand to get up to know student learning process. So assessment is not for only student, but also for teachers as well. This is a kind of the strong, we need a lot of argument because usually teachers need assess because of students, not only for teachers, So that is why we did a lots of discussions, Then assessment means not to score student. Assessment is for teachers. This is a kind of our sharing for teachers, Then we tried to discuss what and how, and then what means learning process, and how means comments from workshop with student reflection sheet, or some comments from the students' worksheet, And this is a kind of example. So as I introduced, and every ninth grade student, they focus on the producing Ageo city, like a city, making a proposal to the city for. And this is a learning process. So first of all, we did orientation. This is a kind of the guide, how to study or how to proceed this kind of study. Then after that lectures, we invited some specific persons from city office. And then students tried to set up their own topic, what they focus on from the city program. And then they tried to do the policy evaluation, or some groups, they went out to school to get interviews or some survey from the parents or some citizens in the city. And then they made proposals or planning some activities. And then they send this kind of proposal and the planning paper to the related to organization or institutions. And then finally, they get the student got some feedback from the professionals. Okay, and this is a kind this assessment plan. So before starting our learning process, the teachers showed this kind of assessment plan to the student, everything. And then this is a point how teachers assessed your activities. So that is why students focus on what's the important things, or what activity is going on. So first of all, so we teachers tried to assess the setting up topics. So usually in Japanese school, teachers decide the topics or learning topics. But in this case, students had to decide or select the topics. So this is one of the difficulties for both teachers and the student, because this is kind of a rare case, And then next one is research. Student tried to collecting lots of materials from the internet because it's easy to access. And then sometimes students visited some libraries or some institutions, and then they got lots of papers, But sometimes it's useful, but sometimes it's not useful. So we tried to assess these materials using various tools, and then critical thinking. So usually students try to read everything very honestly, but sometimes doesn't need it, So teachers tried to say, being critical, Okay. And then next one is making proposal. When they make a proposal or presentation, we, a teacher, tried to assess the expression or participation. This is a kind of the attitude, okay? And here's the rubric. And then before learning process, before starting process, teachers showed this kind of rubric table, and then students tried to focus on the content, reason, the worth, feasibility, and then most of the students try to get point A, but only some groups, they tried to make more than A, like A dash or S, And yeah, it was very interesting. They are struggle to make more than A, and then this is the kind of the average score of the getting A. But students try to make better way. Okay, but making this kind of rubric is very, very took a very long time to put this kind of words, to put this kind of words. So at that time, teachers decide this contents of the rubric, But now I moved to the new school, and in my school, I tried to make this kind of rubric with my students when I have a speech test or performance test in my English classes. So this is kind of the better things, but I know it takes a very long time. Okay. Yeah. So at the time when I was in Ageo Higashi at the GCED class activity, I didn't get any student voice when we make a rubric sheet. So this is one of the unfortunate things. So we needed to get student voice more, and then needed to share the aim and the purpose of learning with other teachers or other school teachers, or sometimes parents too. So this is a very kind of the important before the learning process starts. And then we need a reflection. This rubric sheet is one of the example, just case of the example. So we needed to rebuild or remake this kind of a rubric sheet every time before our learning process starts. So I know this is kind of the troublesome and making a lot of time, taking a lot of time, but to make a better implementation or better assessment, we needed to get a lot of reflection time. So this is one of the example for our assessment. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sayaka-san. I'm very impressed that you try to explain more about the assessment, that the pain point for the teacher today when we teach things like a competency-based learning, no, and when we promote concept of GCED, there are many people that were concerned with the issue on the assessment. Okay, I'm not sure that you would like to tell something a bit about the teacher training that you involved in Japan. If you would like to share some lesson learned, you can provide. I can provide you 2-3 minutes more about
okay. Since I don't know, maybe since 2017 or something. I think after 2020. Since the course of study, which is the curriculum guideline, national curriculum guideline is changed, maybe 2019 to 2022 right now, I got many offers from the Board of Education and Education departments to do the training for teachers. Yes, that was quite nice, and they get more interest in SDGs, GCED, ESD. So what I hear, I can summarize into some of the maybe 3 to 4 points. The first of all, maybe in 2019, they don't know what to do. But the day by day changed. They would like to know how to do. Then they now, and some of the school in the region, I'm still talking what is SDGs, what is GCED, what is transformation. But now in some school actually asked me how to make curriculum management possible. For example, I introduced some of the activities, but and that activity it takes 3 months sometimes. But some activity is it finishes in 1 month. In 1 month, they can just collaborate subject to subject. Then it's possible. So the project-based learning and these kind of learning, it doesn't have to be so long. So then the teachers are actually making a small project, which is like a 2 weeks project to learn something about climate change. Maybe 5 times like a classroom lectures, collaborating with science and crafting, how to use electricity, and the topic is actually renewable energy on a sustainable energy resources, something like this. So these small things happens, which is quite a good start. Yeah. So I encourage everybody to talk with the global issues in a daily basis, not just in the classroom, but what type of news The global news, the World Cup is okay. World Cup in Qatar. They talk about the human rights. So what do they think about the human rights? Then not just teaching, yes, the facilitating, asking questions. To let them think. It's quite a simple start. By doing so, by doing so, like teachers are now ready to use, and in some schools, actually, they are really happy to talk about just picking up some of the news. Then a student gave some comments, gave some opinions by themselves. I really like the ideas and Sayaka Sensei's idea that finally the learning can be built by students.
Yeah.
Not teaching, not teacher will instruct everything. Yeah, starting from that, maybe the ultimate goal is actually let them study, let them learn. Teachers just give up teaching. It's quite important thing. This is what I felt. Yeah, this is what I felt from the teachers' trainings. Yeah. The teacher always think about teacher have to be answering everything. Teacher have to be familiarize everything. Teacher have to manage everything. Teacher have to answer everything. No, this is the world. We know those things, tiny little things in the world. So this is why we are the learner. Teacher can say no. Let's study. Let's study together or something. This kind of mindset is quite important. Yeah.
That's true. So when I was in Hageo Higashi Junior High School, one very experienced teacher, English teacher, she said, so she has never learned about the refugees, So he didn't have any confidence to teach about refugees issues. But I told her, if we know about refugees, if we know about refugee issues, if we have the answer about the refugee issue, we got a Nobel Peace Prize,
Right.
That is why we think about why the refugee issues happens in the world, and then why the issue is increasing, So it's important. We don't know. Nobody knows the answer. So I always encourage this kind of things to the teachers. Teachers to know more about global issues, but maybe this is always continuing, So that is why, as Daisuke-san said, the teacher offers increasing the arbitrary. So think want to know about SDGs or global issues, how to provide classes in their own classroom. But I always encourage teachers, let's think about together with me, together with students, together with parents who are their areas in the community. So because nobody knows the answer. So that the only answer is continuous thinking,
I totally agree with you both. And I think when we talk about the global issue in the class on the GCED, it's not only in classroom learning. It should link between the formal learning in class and informal learning in daily life, in school, in the family, right? And that you propose that the new roles of teacher is not about the teaching. And actually, to me, my belief about teaching profession is the learning profession.
Right.
To learn for like a lifelong learner, And when we teach GCED, it's impossible to use the ready-made knowledge about the global issue. It's impossible that Sayaka Sensei taught that if we know about the refugee very well, maybe we have to.
We don't need United Nations.
But what we have to do is like take role as a co-learner with our students and provide some space in the curriculum for the learning activity and instruct them with many topics, some news, some case or something, and allow them to select and direct their learning, and we support them. Listen to them, help them ask the good question to inquire more and more. And what I learned from you both, your class and Daisuke class that proposed about your project is totally show the concrete example about the GCED classroom. It's not about teaching about SDG, but to run things like learning about SDG.
I was so happy to find out the result, and after the trainings, and we provided training not just for Japanese teachers but the Brazilian teachers as well in the United States. People living in the difficult condition, I mean the left behind society, if they learn the GCED or ESD, they know that topic is about themselves. That is a quite strong motivation for them to transform. And I just wanted to talk about like inquiry, and I have seen some of the difficulties. Actually the GCED and ESD, we talk about action, the social emotion. But I think in the thinking ability is quite important, and maybe for teachers, not just facilitators, but maybe teacher can teach, not the subject. The teacher can teach how to make question, how to search, how to learn. So learning to learn is quite important thing. Otherwise, the students' the presentation quality is somehow not that really high level. But if they learn how to search, how to learn how to research, the quality goes beyond. The learning to learn, it's somehow missing in some part of this kind of learning. And another one is technology. If in my opinion, technology actually by 2019, technology in the GCED is not really cooperative, but actually technology, if the technology is used for equality, given the opportunity for everybody by own pace, it's really strong, and we can't ignore the power of technology for GCED learning. And output, as I just mentioned, making videos, it's easy for them, easy for young people, easy for them to express their ideas. So this is kind of the training, not just to make writing the essays, but the videos, and it can be data. Technology is one of the drivers for maximizing potential of GCED and ESD. Of course, we have to think about equality and equally given, and basically, quality education is given by them, given by technology. So we need to think about giving the technology to those who are last miles. Anyway.
It's very impressive. I would like to recap that. Daisuke point out about the technology skill, and we have to integrate that ICT skill to the classroom to empower students to use it and create the new thing. Sayaka point out about the assessment, when we talk about assessment and we support the student to do something like a project work, there are many kind of the product that they can produce along the, not only the oral presentation or the write down the essay or something. They can create the clips or many kind and many form of the product, and it back to Sayaka because it's related to the assessment. I very impressed that Sayaka-san point out about the assessment is for teacher. We learn a lot from the process that students do their own work, and we learn a lot product that they created. They can connect their own idea to the global issue. They can reflect their own idea and they share in humanities when they talk about the problem or something through the product. And today we have got many ideas that from based on your expertise and your experiences to all of us. I would like to ask one question for Sayaka. When about assessment, and you work with many teachers and they struggle about the assessment tools, the rubric scoring or something. How can you support them to use assessment as a tool for teacher to understand? Because you point out about rubric thing or something.
Well, actually, we had lots of argument and discussion. With the teachers, because the teachers is a kind of the professionals for the assessment. They have a confidence of the, they have a skills and they have a confidence to assess the student because they have a long history. But I asked one question to teachers: for what? Why do you test the student, or why do you have a test or final exam or entrance exam or so? So at that time, the teachers didn't have enough opportunity to think about why do we assess students. Every semester we have a score sheet in Japan. So teachers score like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Yeah.
and then we have to give them back to students. And then that's why we had to make a score. We have a test. But in this case, the activity, we don't have any tests or any exams. So I asked some teachers, why do we assess? Why and how? And then we talked a lot of purpose we talked a lot about the purpose or aims of assessment. And then we focus on assessment is not only for students, but also for us, for us teachers, So we have to make good classes, or we have to make students builders of sustainable society. So this is not for scores. This is for talking about our society. It means our sustainable society. So in this case, how we assess the students, then we try to make a rubric C. But anyway, it took a really long time.
Yeah. And the rubric scoring is not to score, but it's to monitor, right? I think it's very key point when you discuss about assessment. We have to change the question, not to assess, but why to assess. To rethink and reorienting our idea about the assessment. And key point, because when we would like to develop the competencies, it's not only scoring or the testing. Okay, we learned a lot from you both today, and I think we take more time. Maybe we have 1 minute for each to send some idea, some words to Thai teachers who are now interested to work on the GCED implementation in school and in classroom. Maybe start with Daisuke-san. 1 minute.
Okay.
With the Thai teacher about the GCED.
ขอบคุณครับ Thank you very much for listening. I think teachers teachers don't have to be afraid of taking GCED, but just taking a really, really small step, get interest in some of the social issues. Then the next one, what is related to the national level or global level? So I think most of the things are connected. So this realization is quite important thing to start with GCED. Then you can just give them the topics and let them think what is related, how it's connected. What should we do? What can we do? What is the limitation? What is the possibilities? So you don't have to think about so many things. But if you come up with the ideas, I think it's 70% of GCED program is fine. The 30% is operation, cooperation with other teachers. Think about the strategy and the process, learning process, which can be available in a document and many things. But the motivation to pick up some of the topics is the most important thing. So I would like to encourage everybody to work together with all of us. And I'm really happy to give some talks and then maybe in the chat in Thailand and Bangkok and coming back soon, I think. Hopefully. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. And we hope to have you here in Bangkok to share your experiences to Thai teacher and Thai educator on GCED. Okay, Sensei. Time for you.
Okay, thank you very much for listening. And then I'm very happy to share with my activity and my thought with you. And then I think one of my advice or my encouragement is to make friends in other countries. Maybe teacher is a key to open the door to the classroom, to the that is right. So maybe I can be your friend and then you can be my friend. So this is one of the good starting points to
Mm.
make these classes. So if you
Yeah.
have a lot of friends in foreign countries, you want
Mm.
to know more about the countries itself.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
the one great way. Yeah, this is my idea. Okay, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you very much. And I think next time we can have you discuss with the Thai teacher through the Zoom streaming through our GCED teacher forum. Today we have to thank both of you. It's very honor to have you both here and share your expertise with our Thai teacher. And I hope that it's very valuable for Thai teacher and we are have a juicy discussion this 2 hours เนาะขอบคุณผู้ติดตามทุกท่านนะครับแล้วก็วันนี้อาจารย์ทั้งสองท่านได้แชร์กับเราเนาะเดี๋ยวในการถ่ายทอดคลิปนี้ออกไปจะพยายามทำให้ออกมากลายมีซับไตเติลเพื่อให้เอื้อต่อการเรียนรู้ผ่านเมสเสจของอาจารย์นะครับแล้วก็หวังว่าจะมีโอกาสได้ทำกิจกรรมร่วมกันแบบออนไซต์หรือที่มีอาจารย์สองท่านมาร่วมกับเราในวันนี้นะครับ Thank you very much and see you very soon in Bangkok and in somewhere in the world. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Very much.
Thank you for your friendship. Thank you very much.